All right, College Football Payoff Podcast, Week 6.
Monumental episode number 25.
Number 25.
Nice.
I'm Dan.
I'm Big Country.
And we are back with 3 more locks apiece and then a nice little money line for you on my end. Last week, Big Country had a good week, yeah?
2-1.
So you're 8-1 over the past 3 weeks.
Yes, 8-1 run currently for
throw that
Big
out
Country
there.
Here. Tell your friends.
What was your winners? What were your winners last week?
My 2 winners last week were SMU first half minus 11.5. Then I had Oregon State minus 2.5, which came down to the end.
Yep.
But they got it done for me.
And that first half is going to catch on this podcast because you got me hooked to it.
You got
it's
one
going to be one of my plays this week.
Nice.
Last week was very rough for me. 1 and 2, I hit on the Arkansas, Georgia under 48.5. Missed on Texas over 65.5 and the West Virginia minus 7. I also got screwed out of the money line with Syracuse. They should have won that game. There was a lot that did not go my way last week, but this is a new week, and
That happens.
Yeah, looking to go for it. So overall, 8-8 for myself. The podcast record is 17-12.
It's 19 and
19. Because I forgot to add yours in there.
13 maybe, 19 and 13 maybe. I'm 11 and 5.
You're 11-5. I'm 8-8. Quick math, 19 and 13.
Let's go.
There it is.
Hey, pretty good as a pod.
That's
Not
very
gonna
good.
lie.
Very good, as long as we're positive, right? Okay, so we each got 3 more. How about I start this week? Or actually, you're on the roll. I'll defer to you. Do you want to start or do you want me to start? It's up to you. It's your pick. Your choice.
I'll start.
Go ahead.
Let's go.
Go
But
for it.
You got to do your money line, money maker right at the.
I'll do it right at the end.
Yeah, just go back to back there. All right. So last week, let me get the game pulled up here. Last week we went with SMU first half minus 11.5. This week we're going back to an SMU game. It's SMU versus Navy. Saturday 3:30 kick in Annapolis, Maryland at Navy. SMU is going to be traveling there off of 2 straight wins, or 2 straight covers, one against TCU, one against USF. Tanner Mordecai, one of my favorite quarterbacks in college football right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think he should be a Heisman dark horse. I don't know why we're not talking about him more. They are 5-0. They are 1-0 in the conference. They have a pretty good chance to go far this year. He, so far this year, is 127 for 181, over 1,500 yards, and a touchdown interception ratio of 24-6. So he's pretty solid. But even more, Bentley, the fourth, their running back, 403 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Didn't play last week, so expect him to be back this week. And then this is every bit. I love SMU, but this is also a fade the Navy defense play. So we know when you play a military academy and Navy, especially this year, they're going to run time of possession through the roof. That doesn't really matter in this game because SMU scores faster than almost every team in the country. They're in the 10th percentile of fastest scoring, or the 90th percentile of fastest scoring offenses in the U.S. right now. But they're also giving up 420 yards per game. And I think that could be very beneficial for a Navy offense that could maybe break off a play here or two. I do expect SMU to score in the high 30s, low 40s at least. So if we can get around 2 touchdowns or even 10 points, 2 scoring possessions from Navy, I feel pretty confident in this over 55.5. Navy is giving up 211 passing yards per game, even with them using almost 75% of time possession. So I think Tanner Mordecai is going to go out here. I think he's going to start really fast, and I don't think they're going to let up. On top of that, last year, Navy and SMU played, and if SMU wasn't playing a team or already played a team this year that ran the triple option, I would not take this game. But that first triple option game of the year for the small schools is really hard for the defense. So last year, SMU gave up 37 points to Navy, but they just scored 51. So if we can get 51 points out of SMU this year with a better quarterback than they had last year, I'm pretty confident in this over. Give me the over 55.5 for SMU Navy.
Yeah, Tanner Mordecai. Love the name, love the quarterback.
Love that guy. Transfer from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They could use him right now.
And I also love the fact that Big Country is wearing sunglasses because he is feeling himself. He's like hooded mellow when we record. He's on another level. Look out.
If we had a YouTube channel, well, we do have a YouTube channel. If we had actual video.
Everyone, they know once you put on the shades, you know, or they know you mean business.
I'm just feeling good right now.
I know you are.
One run.
I know you are. That's why I'm going to be rolling with you. I'm going to be texting you for all your picks later. All right. First game for me, we are going action. Akron at Bowling Green. Bowling Green is 14.5-point favorite. Over-under is 46. This is Saturday at noon. And there's only one undefeated against the spread team left in the country, and that is Bowling Green. They are 2-3 on the season, but that includes a win against Minnesota and a loss against Tennessee. So you got a Big Ten and a SEC school in there. But honestly, they are not as bad of a team this year as they usually are. They're somewhat a good team, but they're not as bad. But on the other hand, they could be playing possibly the worst team in the country in Akron. Akron gives up 42 points a game. They're scoring less than 20 a game. Their one win came against Bryant, and they lost to who you said was probably the worst team in the college last year, I think, or last week, Ohio.
Yeah, I think it might be Akron now.
Yeah. So if they lost to the team you pegged as the worst team in college football last week, I believe that makes them the worst team in college football right now.
Yeah, they looked ridiculously unmotivated, almost embarrassing last week.
Yeah. So Bowling Green, they have a pretty good defense. It's 7th in defending the pass and 45th when it comes to giving up points. And they're going up a pretty rough offense over at Akron. Akron's 116th in total yards, 115th in points scored. This game is being played at Bowling Green, so I don't see Akron being able to get much going on offense. But neither offense is really a powerhouse or that impressive by any means, but Akron is just that much worse. They've given up 28 sacks in 5 games, and in the 2 games on the road, they were outscored 119-17. Akron is also just 1-4 against the spread this year, and the 2 games that they have been a 14.5-point underdog or greater, they're 0-2 against the spread. To make matters worse, sticking with the trends for Akron, 0-4 against the spread in their last 4 road games, last 4 October games, and last 4 road underdog games. They are 2-10 against the spread versus a team with a losing record. And in the last 6 head-to-head meetings in Bowling Green, Akron is 1-5 against the spread. So Akron's probably the worst team in the country. Bowling Green's going to roll. They're undefeated against the spread. I'm going to roll with the hot hand. We're going Bowling Green minus 14.5 at home.
Man, I think that number's right on the dot. So if I had to take one there right now, it's going to be Bowling Green.
Yeah.
2 wins already. I had their under 1.5 win total, so not too hot. But they're surpassing expectations, and you know, I have a data bit for this next game from Bowling Green, because for this next game, we're going to go to Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a pick on the noon kickoff for the South Carolina Gamecocks at the Tennessee Volunteers. Both teams 3-2 right now. South Carolina is 0-2 in the SEC, while Tennessee is 1-1. And this spread is Tennessee minus 10.5 currently. I don't know what it's going to be before kickoff. But this is a game where I'm just going to take an upward trending team facing a downward trending team. On one hand, we have Tennessee. They started this year 38-point favorites against Bowling Green. They only won 38-6. Joe Milton was their starting quarterback. I was very disappointed and very off on Tennessee after that first week. I expected them to blow out Bowling Green. But they didn't. But as the season went on, we realized that Bowling Green's actually better than your average terrible Bowling Green, and we replaced Joe Milton at quarterback. Then they went to Pitt, hosted Pitt at home, lost to Pitt. I did have Pitt actually on the pod that week, I'm pretty sure, so I'll take that one. But they should have lost to Pitt most likely. Milton was still starting, and Kenny Pickett's going off. They then went the next week and started Hendon Hooker against Tennessee Tech. They won 56-0. Then they played Florida, lost 38-14 in the swamp, but what are you going to do? Hard, tough environment. But what was most surprising, they came out last week and beat a what I perceive to be decent Mizzou team, 62-24 at Missouri. And a lot of the scoring had to do with Hendon Hooker. He has had a QBR at home this year of 171, quarterback rating.
Yeah.
Or RTG. I don't know what we want to call that, but yeah. So he's been going off. He doesn't overthrow everybody by 40 yards like Milton, and he really has this Tennessee Volunteer offense going. Right now, his touchdown to interception ratio is 10-1 over the 3 games he started, and plus he almost had them come back against Pitt when he came to the middle of the game there. He has this team ready to go and ready to score, and you're going to need that against the Gamecocks. The Gamecocks' only good part of their whole team is their defense. They're allowing just over 300 yards a game, but you look deeper below the surface here. Who'd they play here? They played Eastern Illinois Panthers, and that was their biggest one of the year, 46-0. Then they went to East Carolina, only won by 3 against they have a good quarterback down at East Carolina, but not a great team all around. Got blown out by Georgia, got edged out by a Kentucky offense that is pretty much non-existent, but somehow they again beat Florida last week. So, and then they beat one of the worst teams in the country, at least one of the worst offenses in the country last week, 23-14 when they beat Troy. I just don't think, from this sample size, yes, they played Georgia and they lost by around 4 touchdowns. I think Georgia could have really put it on them more during that game. They decided not to. I love this Hendon Hooker guy. If he can protect the ball the way he has, they might only need to score 4 touchdowns to cover this number. I mean, 10.5 seems a little too low for me. I like it around somewhere between 13.5, 14, 14.5. I'll take this 10.5 all day at home, and huge added bonus. They're in the blackout jerseys.
All black jerseys.
Man, they're going to look good. They're going to feel good. Hendon Hooker's going to play good. They're going to score some points. I'm not really worried about South Carolina scoring points. The most they score is maybe 17.
Yeah.
I can get 35 out of. I can get 28. 28-17 still covering for us by half point. Let's go with the Tennessee Volunteers minus 10.5.
Yep. Tennessee and the all black jerseys.
That might be somewhere else by Saturday morning, so I'd bet that early.
Okay. Good little tidbit there for everyone. All right. Moving on, I got a Big Ten game. Michigan, 3.5-point favorites, visiting Nebraska. Over-under is 50.5. This is a Saturday night game at 7:30. Fade Scott Frost. Whatever you do, bet against Scott Frost. Adrian Martinez is not as good of a quarterback as everyone wanted him to be or says that he is, but Scott Frost will always find a way to lose games. And he always finds a way to lose close games. So even if this game is close, like the spread suggests, 3.5, Nebraska is still going to find a way to lose this game. This time, it won't be by less than a field goal. Michigan, I'm a Buckeye fan, but when you're a Buckeye fan, you got to watch Michigan to see how they're going to perform, see how the last game of the year is going to be. Michigan's a solid team, and they play that typical Michigan football. Starting with their offensive line, it does not allow pressure on their quarterbacks, or it doesn't allow plays for loss. They lead the nation in fewest tackles for loss allowed and are second in the nation in sacks allowed. So that's telling me Cade McNamara, sorry about that, quarterback for Michigan, has plenty of time to work, does not need to rush, doesn't need to force anything, which means they will not have to turn the ball over. They have just 1 turnover in the first 5 games of the year. The flip side to that is Nebraska allows defenses to get to their quarterback. They have the most sacks allowed in the Big Ten. And Adrian Martinez is not good enough to carry an offense with just his legs all game long. There is a chance that Nebraska can put up big numbers on offense. History does not really bode well for that. Nebraska is 7-1 in the last 3 years when they get 500 yards or more of total offense in a game. They're 4-14, which includes 0-3 this year, when they cannot hit the 500-yard mark. So if they can get upwards of 500 yards, they got a good chance to win. If not, they're losing the game. They're not going to get to 500 yards in this game. Michigan has allowed less than 300 yards per game, and they have not allowed 500 yards in a game since 2015 against Ohio State. So both teams, they're a very run-heavy offense, and Nebraska being weak on run defense, Michigan is strong on the run defense. Michigan's going to have more stops. They'll have more opportunities to score. They won't turn the ball over as much. They're going to be able to control the possession game. And if the spread's saying it's going to be around 3.5, Nebraska always finds a way to lose. And I just think Michigan's playing really good ball right now. I don't think they've hit their top of the roller coaster like they normally do. I think Scott Frost is on his way out. I think Michigan will win this easily by at least a touchdown. So I'm going Michigan 3.5.
Good stuff. All right, for my last lock, number 3 of 3, we're going to go to Lubbock, Texas, where we're going to look at the 7 p.m. kickoff for the TCU Texas Tech game. Very similar teams statistically. Very similar teams. TCU's averaging 433 yards a game on offense. Texas Tech's averaging 438. The TCU's allowing 397 yards on defense. Texas Tech's allowing 387. But the big difference here is the situational spot for these two teams. TCU is a pretty good team for the Big 12, I would say. They're always at the upper half, upper quarter of the Big 12 standings. And they lost 2 straight games in a pretty tough fashion. So they dropped a game by 8 points to SMU 2 weeks ago with Tanner Mordecai, who we love.
Tanner.
Which the defense let that one go. And then last week, they had a huge chance at beating Texas. Blew their opportunities there. Texas Tech, on the other hand, when they played Texas doubled them up in their score.
Mm-hmm.
Texas was too much for them, too complex. And then somehow last week, which, miserable because I'm pretty disappointed in my West Virginia Mountaineers. And
Yeah,
Neil Brown.
me too.
West Virginia, they should not have beat them. West Virginia gave them that game, especially in the second half, because West Virginia has consistently all year not been a great second half team. And Texas Tech, resume-wise, has not impressed me. They beat a 4-1 Houston team who has played nobody. I think Dana Holgerson down at Houston is not going to end well. They struggled against SF Austin, gave it to FIU, but since then in Big 12 play, they have not been impressive to me at all. This is going to be a quarterback matchup of TCU's Max Duggan and Texas Tech's Tyler Schau. They both have very similar offensive statistics, but Duggan does edge him out in touchdowns completed, and he has less interceptions thrown. I think Texas Tech may be coming off a little bit of a high, and we know Gary Patterson has been with this TCU program for over a decade now, maybe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's not going to drop 3 in a row. That's as simple as that is. I just don't think he's dropping 3 in a row. This line opened at 1.5, dipped down to pick 'em, and then dipped right back to 1.5. So I'm pretty confident in TCU here. If they win, I think they cover. I know they're on the road, but I just can't see them dropping 3 straight in a row, and especially to 3 Texas teams. For recruiting purposes, you cannot lose to SMU, Texas, and Texas Tech back to back if you're a Texas school and want to keep getting good recruits. He knows how much this game means. There's probably going to be a different feeling in that locker room, different intensity from him this week. Give me TCU minus 1.5.
I like it. All right. Good pick. All right, for my last one. So when I was doing the research on these games today, I really wanted to take the marquee game, which is Penn State, Iowa.
I was looking at that game. I wanted to give that game out on here, too.
Really wanted to. And the only way I was going to play it, because I honestly have no idea who's going to win. If I had to say anything, I would probably say Iowa just because it's at Iowa. But I wanted to take the total, and then I saw the total today, which threw me away from it. I think it's down to, 40.5?
Yeah, I saw 40.5. If that was up around 43.5, I might take that. But.
So that was going to be my third game, but then I thought about how much success you've been having with this first half spread.
You had to find one?
I found one. I'm jumping on the train. We're going Alabama at Texas A&M. Alabama's an 18-point favorite in the game. Over-under is 51.5. This is Saturday night, 8 o'clock at Texas A&M. The first half spread is 10.5. And it's too much fun watching first half bets go and not get in on the action, because it's basically a full game in half the time.
Yeah.
I figured if I'm going to start, I should start this week, and I should pick the team that is head above heels, the best team in first half spreads almost ever, and that's Alabama. They have covered 13 straight first half spreads, knock on wood. Alabama gives up 4.8 points per half, and they're scoring 29.5 points per half, or in the first half on average. That's fourth in the nation and second in the nation, respectfully. On the other side, A&M is only scoring 10 points in the first half, and they're giving up around the same. So Alabama can score points early, often, basically whenever they want to. Bryce Young's having his way through the air. He's got over 1,300 yards of passing, 17 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. The A&M defense they're pretty solid, but they're not able to force turnovers, and that's something that will need to happen to be able to keep a high-powered offense off the field and off the scoreboard, or possibly even take a lead from them. But the key here is that this game's being played at Kyle Field in Texas. They're known for the 12th man. All right? Nick Saban knows this, and I guarantee you his point of emphasis will be to take them out of the game early, and the best way to take the fans out of the game is by scoring a lot of points in the first half, crushing the hope before halftime hits. Especially with this being a night game, the focus will be on getting the crowd out of the picture early. But let's just face it right here. Bama, absolute machine. I'm not sure A&M's 12th man, 13th, 14th, 15th man can stop this offense from just putting up as many points as they want in the first half, and the defense is just going to shut them down. I'm going to be excited to see this bet play out. Although I'm very confident actually in the 18 for Bama for the game. I'm going Alabama first half minus 10.5.
Dang. 10.5?
10.5.
I mean, honestly, I don't see Texas A&M really scoring too much.
No.
Their offense is atrocious.
And I see
As it
Bama's
always has
offense just Bama. I watched Bama last week, and their offense, it was like they were toying with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. They were kind of like just experimenting with different plays almost.
I really expected more out of that game.
Yeah, I did too.
But last week, I hope it's not a letdown spot. I don't really think you should account for letdown spots when you're talking about Nick Saban.
No.
So, yeah, I'll probably roll with that, to be honest.
I like
just
it.
Gotta let it drop here.
All right, and then I'm going to get back on the money line train. Oklahoma at Texas. Saturday, noon kickoff. Red River shootout. Oklahoma. And this is where is this at? The Cotton Bowl? Yeah, it's at the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
So it's a neutral site. Oklahoma has looked not as dominant as they were advertised to be this season in their last 3 games. Those 3 games were a 23-16 win over Nebraska, who Scott Frost sucks. Nebraska's pretty trash. That should have been a blowout. That 16-13 last-second field goal win against West Virginia, and a 37-31 win against Kansas State. So right there, those are 3 games that are decided by a touchdown or less. I think Spencer Rattler is overrated. I don't think he is suited for big stage games. And I think that Texas is going to be looking for revenge because last year in the rivalry game, that was that 4 overtime game. Oklahoma stunned them. Texas was ranked. Oklahoma wasn't. Big, stunning win for Oklahoma. Texas offense is going to look to put up a season high point total in this one. And that's coming, they score 70 against Tech, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be looking to put up that much in this game too. Oklahoma is just not going to be able to match that because Spencer Rattler is not some cheat code that goes out there. The kid's not that good of a quarterback. He gets in his head. The Sooners thought he was going to be this Heisman hopeful. Everyone thought Heisman Trophy, but I just don't see it with him. Rivalry game, I think Texas comes out. They're avenging last year. They're going to win by at least a touchdown. I'm getting Texas plus 135 money line pick.
I like it. I mean, Oklahoma hasn't shown me anything all year that would make me want to take them.
Exactly.
So.
All right, that's it. Do you want to recap your picks?
I almost kind of want to give a bonus pick.
Ooh, what do you got? You got something good?
I want to come back to the first half.
All right. Let me go through my picks, and then if you got a bonus, you can give it out real quick.
Because I just want to give us a quick explanation here.
Okay, so I got Week 6 picks, I think. Yeah, Week 6, Bowling Green, minus 14.5. I got Michigan, minus 3.5. First half, 10.5 for Alabama. And then Moneyline, Moneymaker, Texas, plus 135 over Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout. You ready?
Yeah. I have SMU Navy over 55.5. I have Tennessee minus 10.5. And I have TCU minus 1.5. For my bonus pick, I'm gonna come out with I'm gonna hit you with a first half line.
I'll play it.
I love it here. It's gonna be Coastal Carolina minus 10.5 tomorrow night against Arkansas State Red Wolves.
Okay.
Grayson McCaw should be playing so far. We all know how good he is, and we all know how great the Coastal Carolina offense is. Coastal Carolina's 5-0. Arkansas State's 1-4. Coastal Carolina averages 528 yards on offense a game. Arkansas State allows 563 yards a game against terrible, and I mean terrible, opponents. This is by far the best leagues of offense they've played. This Coastal Carolina offense is leagues above any offense Arkansas State has played. Give me Coastal Carolina minus 10.5 first half.
Yep, I'll be playing that as well because I love the first half. All right, well, there we go. You got a bonus pick from Big Country this week. He's on fire. He is absolutely on fire, so you need to share this with everybody you know. You need to like, subscribe, comment.
And we're 6 downloads away from our 500th download.
I mean, come on. Get there, boys.
This will be our 25th episode, and we're gonna pass 500 downloads here.
Love it.
Good stuff.
So make sure you find us wherever you can get podcasts. Like we said, subscribe, share it. All right. Hit us up on Twitter. You got the handles?
At CF Payoff Pod for the podcast. You can find me at Big Country Bets. You can find Dan at Accountant Bets.
Yes, and wherever you get your podcasts, look up CF Payoff, College Football Payoff, whatever you need to do, find it, like it, subscribe it, share it, and let's get out there.
Yeah, man, I've gone 8-1 over the last 3 weeks. Share this with your friends.
I mean,
just pay me back by doing that. That's all I got. Get people to listen to it. Maybe it's hard to listen to. We'll work on it. I'm giving you winners.
He's 8-1, and the podcast is 19-13 as a whole. Yeah. So as long as you got a winning record, you're winning money.
Yes.
So you might as well pass this out, share it to everyone, and say, hey, let's make a few extra bucks.
Yeah, and listen, we're still a really small podcast. You're gonna get credit among all your gambling buddies for finding this Diamond in the Rough podcast. So
they'll ask you, where'd you get those picks? You let them know, and then next thing you know, we're giving out more than 3 or 4 a week.
I don't know. We'll see.
All right, you got anything else?
I'm good.
All right, Big Country over there. I'm Dan. We will see you next week.